Thank you. Call to order the Advisory Plan Commission for Monday, April 25th, 2022. And our first order of business is the approval of the minutes from March 14th, 2022.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
To approve the minutes?
Yes, sorry.
Okay.
Right.
And second was motion by Monica, second by Ms. Gardner. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Second, any special requests or continuances? Saying none, old business from the floor. All right, under new business, PC 2021-116, Skillman landscape waiver. Request landscape waiver from section 100306 to relocate the foundation landscaping within the other planning areas. We'll be presenting that. You would state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Brady Vaughn with Crossroad Engineers, office located at 115 North 17th Avenue in Beach Grove. And as stated, we're here for the acceptance of a landscape waiver on behalf of RS Ford Realty.
Okay.
Our project is located pretty much in the center of Greenwood on the west side of US 31 and south of Smith Valley Road. More specifically, it's located in the southwest corner of the intersection of US 31 and Payful Drive. So a little more on the existing conditions. Currently, the site is a Hyundai car dealership and a front display lot. Fairly recently, the display lot had some improvements made that include the removal of a drive cut, resurfacing, restriping of the lot, and in the green, some additional landscaping islands were added. So our project primarily consists of a building addition off the north face of the existing building, as well as a remodel of the front of the building, some storm sewer improvements, new sidewalk and landscaping, as well as regrading and restriping of the parking lot around the addition in front of the building. So for the landscape waiver, the code requires that a 10-foot planting strip be placed along the foundations of the new portion of the building that face April Drive and US 31. Due to the use of the building being primarily for maintenance receiving, we were required to have overhead doors and vehicular access along the east face that faces US 31. So we were unable to get the 10-foot planting strip. So to provide equitable landscape area, we provided 2 planting strips on the north face of the building facing April Drive and one larger island on the southeast corner of the building that again provides an equitable area in lieu of the 10-foot planting strip facing the right of way. I'll ask for any questions that you guys may have, and I thank you for your time.
Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, a motion prepared.
Mr. President, in regards to PC 2021-116, the landscape waiver request, RS Ford Realty, I move that the request for RS Ford Realty for a waiver of the requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance, Greenwood Municipal Code, Chapter 10, Article 25, Division 3, Generally Acceptable Regulations, Section 10-03-06, Landscaping and Buffering, G, Foundation Planning, that specifies that commercial properties under 25,000 square feet shall have a minimum 10-foot wide landscaping strip along the full length of a foundation facing the street to permit relocation of the landscaping from a strip along the building lines facing US 31 and April Drive to 2 planting beds on the north face of the building and a landscape island at the southeast corner of the building be approved, and that the Plan Commission find that RS Ford Realty has met the criteria set forth by Greenwood Municipal Code, Section 10-04-05I for the waiver for the reasons set forth in its request for waiver and as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shaw and second by Ms. Gardner for PC 2021-116. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, good luck. Next order of business is PC 2022-021 Kopesky landscape waiver. Kopesky requests landscape waiver from section 10-03-06 J2 to relocate the required perimeter parking lot landscaping within the other planting areas on the site. Need your name and address for the record, please.
Evening, my name is Charlie Maddox with Crossroad Engineers, address 115 North. Sorry, these moved recently. Here tonight on behalf of Kopesky Auto Wash LLC. We are also requesting a landscape waiver. Site's located in the center of Greenwood jurisdiction on the east side of US 31, just south of the Smith Valley Road and that's property. You can see the roundabout to the north, southeast corner of Relocate Drive and Madison Avenue, US 31, over to the west. You may be familiar with the site. It was the Lotus Garden Restaurant. It's about 1.8 acres, so commercial. Existing site is since demoed building, and it's largely just asphalt for a parking lot. Commercial to the south, west, and north, and residential to the east. This project includes a new car wash building, a few parking spaces for employees on the far east side of the asphalt area. Centered in the asphalt area are the vacuum stations, and the eastern portion of the site is the underground detention system for stormwater drainage. So the landscape waiver itself, we're requesting plantings along the southern portion of the site and the eastern portion of the parking lot to simply be relocated to other green areas on the site. Southern border, there's an existing storm RCP pipe, which is drainage from the residential subdivision to the east through our site. Required trees for that south border would be a direct conflict with the concrete pipe. Did have room for the shrubs. Trees have been relocated to other green areas throughout the site. The interior landscape islands and some green areas on the north and south sides of the building. The eastern portion of the site plantings would be in direct conflict with the underground detention system. So we simply push those plantings to the east out of the wind with what was already being provided as a buffer from the residential lot to the east. Landscape architect provided calculations to the plan sheet that we provided to staff, indicating all plantings are remaining on the plan, simply relocate. Happy to answer questions, yeah.
I'll open it up for any questions.
Are you gonna put a fence where it backs up to the neighborhood at all? Make that out of the picture.
To the east or the south,
Mhm.
there will be a 6-foot privacy fence on the eastern property line.
Along with the shrubs and trees.
Correct, yeah, to buffer along with all the trees.
And it's just trees and shrubs along the south.
So trees and shrubs are required along the south, the shrubs stay the same.
You move the tree, yeah.
The trees moved to other areas on
Okay.
site, yeah. And then all the trees and shrubs along the eastern side were pushed east. Added in with the trees that we committed to
MUs do not have enough root structure that would bother
The shrubs, yeah,
Is
the,
this,
the stone height is roughly under the curb line.
is this project gonna look similar to the one around that Smoky Row and Stones Crossing? Or 135 Road?
Similar,
Similar?
more plantings on this site for sure. We committed to some additional plantings, the upfront stages. We're working with the developer, I'm sorry, the residents to the east.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, then a motion prepared.
Mr. President, in regards to PC 2022-021 landscape waiver request for Kopetsky Auto Wash LLC perimeter parking lot, I move that the request of Kopetsky Auto Wash LLC for a waiver of the requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance, Greenwood Municipal Code, Chapter 10, Article 25, Division 3, Generally Applicable Regulations, Section 10-03-06, Landscaping and Buffering, J, Parking Lot Landscaping, 2, Perimeter Parking Lot Landscaping, A and B, that specifies a minimum 5 feet wide landscape area with continuous rows of shrubs and a minimum of 1 tree and 3 shrubs for 35 feet of lineal planting at the perimeter of the parking lots located along Madison Avenue and Mercator Drive to permit relocation of landscape plantings to other areas of the development due to stormwater utility conflicts be approved, and that the Plan Commission find that Kopetsky Auto Wash LLC has met the criteria set forth by Greenwood Municipal Code, Section 10-04-05I for the waiver for the reasons we set forth in its request for the waiver and as presented.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Shell and second by Monica. All those in favor of that motion, signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, good luck. Next order of business is PC 2022-025, the Denton Floyd Arlington Farms primary plat. This is a public hearing. There'll be 15 minutes for the petitioner, 15 for the remonstrators. This is basically a ministerial act that we do. I'm going to have Ms. Coons explain that for our new members as well as the audience.
This is a primary plat. If the primary plat meets the requirements of the subdivisions of the Unified Development Ordinance, then this body is to approve it. If it does not meet the requirements as set forth in the Unified Development Ordinance, then they have to specifically set forth which portions they do not meet. And then they can go and amend it and resubmit it. But it is a ministerial act, so they don't really have a lot of choice. If it meets it, it's to be approved and granted.
Okay. With that said, 15 minutes for the petitioner, 15 remonstrator, 5-minute rebuttal. Anybody that's going to speak for or against this, and I asked my people online, we'll swear you in individually, but anybody that's here in the audience that's going to speak to this needs to stand and be sworn in.
You swear no penalties for perjury, testimony gives true to best knowledge.
Anybody online that's going to speak for or against this? Anyone? You're all muted. All right, seeing none. Petitioner. State your name and address for the record, and then
Sure. Good evening, members of the council and planning commission. Scott Hannon, Heritage Engineering, principal at my firm, 603 North Shore Drive, Jeffersonville, Indiana, 47130. I have Dylan Fisher with the Weediger. We are both here as representatives of Denton Floyd. Denton Floyd is the developer of this property. Roughly 20 acres just east of Combs Road. Recently incorporated into the city of Greenwood. So we're here to answer any questions, but keeping it very brief based on this format.
Has a map or?
Yes, sir. You guys have the map.
I've got one. That's got one.
There's one provided with the staff report.
Waiver. Can you give us an idea of where the egress, well, I can ask you that now. Where the egress and exits, or egress and entrance points are?
Yes, so there's an existing County Line Road, there's an existing multifamily development.
Minnesota 165.
So we line up there, and then to the east towards our property line, we could propose another entrance there. So we got two entrances and exit onto County Line Road.
And one of them corresponds, you say, with the one that's on the north side?
Yes, yes, lines up.
Okay. Anything else?
No, just here to answer any questions.
All right, we'll have questions at the after demonstrators.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anybody else to speak for this? Yes, Mr. Nelson.
Gabriel Nelson, City of Greenwood. Staff has reviewed this during our technical review meeting and approved it. Found it compliant with the subdivision ordinance. That's all.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none. Any demonstrators to speak to this? Would you please? State your name and address for the record.
Robin Heldman,
I'm sorry.
resident. Robin Heldman,
Okay, thank you.
resident, 8824 Combs Road. I received a certified letter from Frost Brown Todd giving me notification of this hearing. And I reviewed the documents that were enclosed in the envelope. I reached out to Jared at Frost Brown Todd and asked for a little bit more clarification because the document was very difficult to read, very small. He instructed me that I needed to contact Greenwood Planning, in which I did email, and Gabe responded quickly and sent me some information on this docket. It caused me to pause because the map that he sent me to the map that I received from Frost Brown Todd were not the same document. I was a little concerned with that because on the document that was mailed to me via certified mail, it had more of the development on it with some fine print. One of the fine prints read that there was a waiver requested to reduce the minimum parking required, which would also eliminate green space. It would add about 138 parking spaces that were not initially proposed in the initial map that I received, which concerns me, because one of my main concerns when they first presented this was the amount of additional traffic there at Combs and County Line, which is only a two-way stop. I was also a little concerned with how much proposed building they were having there and some aesthetics, which I know will be, later talked about. But I was mainly concerned with this fact, because I wasn't sure if this is what was going to be approved tonight. So I wanted to raise that concern. I know that's a thing that in Marion County, they're very adamant about having the minimum required parking spaces. And I just didn't want that to not be, addressed with what my concerns are, because that's a lot more parking spaces in that small confined space. They've also kind of positioned some of the buildings, which is eliminating that green space. The other question that I have in regard to that is I was reading through the document that Gabe sent me and the report of the technical review committee. And on that review committee report, Mark St. John Engineering Division asked about the traffic study and stated that it would need to be updated and revised as it did not include the roundabout. Mr. St. John will send his comments in an email. I'm curious, what roundabout are they referring to? Can someone answer that question?
We'll address that when we get to,
Okay.
okay.
Yep, because I wasn't familiar with the roundabout in that area, so that's why I'm questioning that.
Okay.
And that is all I have. Thank you.
All right.
If anyone cares to see this map that was certified, sent to me, I can pass it around if needed.
Let's see that.
Pardon me?
Yes, I'd like to see it.
I can give you the original one I received too as well. Look at that.
Well, we've got the original for the,
Okay.
I mean, all right, anybody else?
Jeff Wiley, 1315 North Combs Road, Greenwood. I got that same map, and it's really hard to read, but no place on here am I seeing, when this went through zoning, they were going to put in senior housing as well, and I'm not seeing it anywhere on this map. It's all, from what I'm seeing, it's all 3-story apartments. So it looks like they've eliminated the senior housing.
Anything else?
Yeah, that was the main thing I'm looking at, is that was one of the things that, when it went through zoning, that was one of the things they were saying they were going to put in senior housing, so. It's not in there.
We'll ask that question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name's Angie Aggressive Schmall. I live at 1323 North Combs Road, Greenwood, Indiana, 46143. And I agree with everything that they said. And about the map, I couldn't read it. And I was concerned about the senior community not being listed. And I'm also concerned about the way the property looks right now, all 20 acres. Trash, when they mow down a bunch of trees and it's just dead trees all over. There's gas cans, there's trash, there's bottles. And I've already contacted Greenwood about it. They came out and took some pictures. I'm not sure what's going on since then. That's been probably over a month ago. And I mean, it's just unacceptable. I mean, I don't want to live by apartments, let alone right now living by trash. There was dead trees the first time they came through that were laying on the road that I had to move. So it wouldn't scratch cars coming through. So who's in charge of that? Who cleans up that? Do we know?
Okay. We'll address that.
That's all right.
That's what we'll address that when we get to questions.
All right, thank you for your time.
Anyone else? All right. Online commented earlier, so petitioner's got a 5-minute rebuttal.
Sure, thank you. All good questions. So the notice that was sent to the neighbors included our secondary development plan. So it included a much more detail than being presented tonight. So that's a good thing to get out in front of the neighbors. So we can address any of their comments. I can give them their card, and we can talk with those folks tonight. The trash needs to be addressed. Our 10-foot is in the process of acquiring this property. They've done some due diligence out there, so there might have been some geotechnical work done. But we'll look at getting that cleaned up, and then as we start construction, obviously, we're gonna clean that site up if we move forward. As part of the secondary approval, we are not included, there's kind of like steps we go through, obviously you guys are familiar with it. But the senior housing would come back for secondary and residential approval, so it is not included as we move forward in the more detailed process. The roundabout, as you know, County Line Road is a Indianapolis roadway. So the thought of a roundabout has been thrown around. I'm not aware of any of those details, but that would be part of the intersection improvement that would take place at a later date, not part of this project. Okay, if there's any other questions, we'd be happy to ask. Answer.
That all?
That's it.
All right, 5 minutes for the from us. Any additional comments you want to make?
Do I need to state my name again?
No. Okay.
So if that is what they sent us, that they did not send that to you, the question I have, are you approving what they sent us this evening? And if you are, the concerns I have are what I expressed before, or will that be addressed at another meeting?
That would be addressed under, that's a secondary, this is the primary. So what was sent to you is not what is being approved here this evening.
So what exactly is being approved this evening?
The primary plaque, which shows the layout of where stormwater is going to go, you know, where basic easements and things are laid out on the property. It doesn't have the level of detail that was sent to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess
That would
that's
come
what the
later.
confusion is, that
And
they
if they would
did.
need any waivers, it would have to come back before this body.
Okay, all right, thank you for the clarification.
Anyone else? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Open up for questions, comments. Thanks for that explanation, because I was kind of confused myself, but the primary is like she says, just for the easements and the where
Infrastructure.
infrastructure is. There will be, when they submit plans, those will come before the planning department. Us as a body will not see that again unless they ask for waivers, and it'll come back before us for the waivers. But they have to follow all the parking requirements, all the landscape requirements, any road improvements that would be adjacent to their property. Greenwood. I don't know what what the jurisdiction is for Indianapolis. I know Indianapolis governs or has the Else County Line Road.
I know I read in the staff report that it makes a mention about road improvements. Is that what you're referring to? And also the updated traffic study as well.
It's a traffic study for County Line.
Yes, there was a traffic study prepared for this
Okay.
development. It included the intersection of Combs Road, County Line Road, as well as both site entrances along County Line Road. As was mentioned earlier, there was originally a second part of this development that included the senior housing in the corner of this lot. And there would have been another entrance onto Combs Road that's since been removed, but the comment about updating the traffic impact study would be applicable if that development comes back online. And there's another access on Combs Road.
So they're going to Marion County for road improvements. We can get that before we go any farther with the project.
So city of Indianapolis has control over County Line Road. The traffic impact study did show that a signal is warranted at the intersection of Combs Road and County Line Road. Indianapolis has informed us they plan to apply for funding there to put a roundabout there. And they have plans to put a roundabout at that intersection. We would be supportive of that as well as a traffic signal. Unfortunately, there's not much more we can enforce at that intersection because it's not our jurisdiction to put improvements in.
What about business on Combs Road?
That was not evaluated as part of the traffic impact study, nor was it recommended because they have no site access along Combs Road.
So at this point in time, the senior housing has been removed?
The senior housing is not present on this primary plat. It is to the west of this primary plat. It is my understanding that that section is to be platted separately if it is to go through.
Is this the property that was annexed? Or
Yes.
is there more than this that was annexed?
Yes, this property was annexed. They were annexed together, so they would have came together with the apartments and the senior living. They're only primary platting the apartments right now. We have not seen a submission for a primary plat for the section of the annexation that included the senior living.
Okay, so that's a separate plat.
Yes, they did not plat them together.
All right, so you got two separate plats, one for the apartments and then one for the senior living at a later date.
If it's submitted, yes. Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question on?
I'd have to reopen the public hearing. Commission. You okay with that?
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
All right.
I would just like, I'm sorry, it's just by my property, so I just want clarification. When I was on the meeting prior to this, where they approved the zoning for this and everything, I thought that was one motion that approved both of those plats. Was that not the way? And if that's true, does it need to be considered? It's one piece, one motion that approved both of those.
One motion approved the annexation, but you can have, they can introduce the plats at separate times. Because they are two different plats.
Okay, I didn't understand that, so I just wanted clarification. Thank you very much.
All right, any other questions, comments?
Yeah, I have one, and it's mainly for clarification for the residents in the area there. Mr. St. John, the city of Indianapolis, if they're looking for funding for the road improvements and roundabout, would you project that work to be 2-3 years out?
Possibly longer than that, maybe 4 to 5 years out. The earliest they would be able to apply for the Indianapolis MPO would be this fall. They'd be notified of funding award probably next spring of 2023, about a year from now. And from there, it's a 4 to 5 year development process. Document right away acquisition.
I just wanted the residents to understand what the expectations were. County line road improvements by the city of Indianapolis.
So prior to that, would they put in light?
I would hope so. I would certainly push for it for the city of Greenwood.
Right. Because of what the
Traffic
traffic
impact
study.
study shows it's.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments up here?
That was, I was just gonna say, that was part of my question about this, had to go through the MPO to get the funding.
Well, the city of
And the
Indianapolis
town
could elect to fund it 100% locally, and it could be done faster than that, but from my understanding, they're gonna pursue federal funding on it.
So there's some inside information, so to speak, for the residents. As close as we ever get the inside information on the
All right. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, there's been a motion. Eric?
Mr. President, regarding docket PC 2022-025, primary plat for Arlington Farms Apartments. I move to approve the proposed primary plat of Arlington Farms Apartments submitted by Heritage Engineering on behalf of Denton Floyd, docket PC 2022-025, because the primary plat complies with the standards of the subdivisions division of the Unified Development Ordinance, and to direct the president to sign on the commission's behalf the notice of determination and written findings regarding the approval of the primary plat as prepared by the planning director.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Rochelle, second by Monica. All those in favor of that motion signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Move forward. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Someone had my back.
Yeah.
It made its way.
If you want the fingerprints of the commission.
Gabe sent me that. Yes. It was just, he had sent that to me, which I appreciate. I was just confused and wanted clarification because I didn't want this approved. I would have asked.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good to see
Any
you
new
back.
business from the floor?
Pardon me?
Good to see you back when we met.
You betcha. You betcha.
I did. All right. We still got a little bit of business, sir.
Right.
Sir? Sir?
Hit your gavel.
We still got some business to do.
Well, I
Can you take that out
apologize. I'm
the
so
lobby?
sorry.
That's all right. Thank you.
You might not be glad that I come back.
So any new business from the floor? Seeing none, I did fail to make a couple announcements at the beginning of the meeting, and I'm going to do that right now. Find my notes. We have. I'll get it.
Want me to do it?
There we go. We had Mr. Gabe Nelson is now the new planning director, and he's with us on staff. I think he was at our, well, you weren't at the last meeting.
He's
The
been at
PC
several.
meeting?
I've been to a couple of
Okay.
them, sometimes I'm in the audience.
Yeah, okay.
Due to the space.
And then I'd like to welcome you, and then also Mark St. John, the new city engineer. Welcome. And, they'll be sitting on our commission. So
Right now, Mr. Paul Pioni is sitting at home with his feet up.
I'm very glad. that
Cold
Monday night-
Pepsi Cola in his right hand.
I asked him what he was gonna do with his Monday night off. He told me he wasn't sure.
so welcome.
And we have Mr. Ferguson still with us, and this would be, I think, his last plan commission meeting because he will be retiring at the end of this week and.
That's a class for congratulations.
Yeah, not retiring.
Yes.
42 years with the city of Greenwood in planning. The city is losing a ton of experience,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
he lives less than a half mile from me. And I know he
Feels
was, when he's
very
home,
body to very-
when he's home, when he's not traveling around the country with a bar.
Well, I've been on this commission for 21 years. And Mr. Ferguson was bugging me for a couple of years. You need to get on the planning commission. You need to get off the economic development commission. So thank you for that, Ed, I think.
And he's following you into retirement.
Yeah, I got, you're done at the end, 8 months. I'm out. So, all right. Any other announcements?
I have one, we do have a new planner that joined us today, Rick Butler. We're excited to welcome him, to CBS. So you guys might be seeing a new face, around the building, or you might possibly be at a meeting in the near future to meet you guys. And then, the 16th of next month, we'll be getting a new senior planner. We are looking forward to having a full staff. With that being said, I do have another brief announcement, just an update on Tim Crump's property. This kind of requested me, and I know that there were some people that were tenants that were wondering. Right now, his architect or his engineer is working on finalizing the plans to submit to us. He hopes to have those plans submitted to us by the end of this week. Aside from that, he's made some safety improvements at the request of our fire marshal regarding some safety lighting. And once we get that, we will have our review period once we receive the plans. And after that, we'll go back to a tech meeting to either approve with conditions or deny the plans that he has submitted. At that time, we'd be able to issue the permit. for the land alteration. And after that, Ken would inspect, and then upon a successful inspection, issue building permits. That's kind of where we are right now. Right now, he is kind of waiting on his land surveyor or engineer to finish those plans. But that's my brief update.
And the building permit is not issued until previous issues are settled, fines and so forth.
Correct. There have been some minor things that he has worked on addressing. That he's talked with Ken and Tracy about, but Ken does not see any safety issues with the building. But upon his final inspection, after the LAP is issued, he would issue the official building permit for that site.
I do have a document that I also sent over to Sherry. I've got a hard copy of it here. I have not signed it. I need some direction on what I need to do with that.
So after it is signed, we will have to deliver the document to Tim Crump. And then he will have a period of 30 days to possibly appeal the document. I do not anticipate him to appeal it. He's been trying to work with the city to get his plan submitted in a timely fashion. And he is, his engineers reached out to me to confirm that he is working on getting those plans into us.
So is that something I should sign today? Preferably.
Preferably, if it's been reviewed, then to sign that. And
I've read through it. I'm not a lawyer. Okay, so I know it has not been reviewed by the commission.
I would recommend that the commission review it just to make sure it is accurate, and we can get that signed and delivered to Tim Crump. We're in a position here where Shauna cannot really advise us since she represents Ken. But the firm that we've hired can provide advice on how to proceed.
Could this be routed through the gentleman that was here?
No, he's left the company.
He has left the
He's
company.
not there.
He's no longer with that firm,
Oh,
but
what kind
the
of-
firm is still there,
The
so
firm
there's
is-
good contact.
So I know we've got a full agenda in the next meeting. 2 weeks from now. Is this something that can be distributed to the planning commission, and they can review that and we take action on it in the next meeting? Or is it something we need to do sooner than that?
What are you talking about, Trent? What are you talking about? Us reviewing the packet that you have.
It's the findings and order that we went through on February 28th for Mr. Crump.
Okay.
And the findings have been documented by the law firm
Okay.
that was here.
Right.
Now, the guy that was here with us is no longer with that company. So,
Is it similar to what we have on BCA where findings of fact we have?
no, it's.
The process, I mean.
Yes, you would review the findings, and then at the meeting, we could vote on it. Vote to approve them and have them signed.
There's 3 or 4 pages findings, and then there's 3, 4 conclusions. So. Yeah, we can acknowledge it. So I sent Ms. Jerry the copy that was sent to me from an email, attachment to an email, so she can make copies. Just distribute that or however we want to do it. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just a matter of public record, right? So, where is
It's deliberative, I think.
so that would have to be
Can't give you
kept
legal
confidential.
advice.
No, so that has to be kept confidential.
It's
Am I
confidential.
hearing that right?
Confidential until we would approve.
Right, but we just don't want to start distributing copies all over the place.
Yeah, we won't include it in the agenda, link to the agenda or anything like that. You would review the findings. And then it would have to be adopted at the next meeting, is my understanding. And we can reach out to the law firm to get their recommendation.
Okay, let's do that
And then have them distribute it to each one of the members confidentially.
here. Will we review it here during the meeting? Just jumping at the
Or
bit.
send it tomorrow.
Can we talk about it? Can we talk about it before we vote on
Email,
it?
let's send an email.
Yeah,
Let's
but then
reach
can we
out
talk about
to
it?
the law firm to get their recommendation.
I personally, I did not see any problem with it. Okay. Remembering the meeting and what we discussed and all that, so.
I need to remember
Just
that
want to bite on this.
we're not, we
Bite
don't,
my spoon.
So.
we won't send a copy to Mike.
Yes, don't send it to me.
Okay.
She had a conflict of interest, so she removed herself.
I guess
You can
I would,
review it and advise.
yes.
Okay, you got me. Any other questions, comments?
Next meeting's packed.
Next meeting's packed.
Bring your
Each meeting.
Anybody want to leave?
Snacks and
extra large
snacks and water and really what?
on May.
Wow. That's always my answer to this long meeting.